A very good morning to all our viewers. This is Beyond Wallet. I'm Sumit Chaturvedi. Let's see what is making headlines in the world of business today. United States Federal Reserve keeps interest rates unchanged, rates to remain in 0.75% to 1% band. Honda motorcycle goes past rival Bajaj Auto to claim second spot in Indian market. Mahindra & Mahindra stops sale of its electric car in the UK for lack of sales to be blamed because there was no response. And in a major push to make in India, the cabinet in India approves proposal of using locally produced steel in government infrastructure projects. And messaging app WhatsApp suffers a massive global outage. Millions of users unable to access the service in parts of India, Canada, US and Brazil. Now straight to our top story, where US Federal Reserve has kept its interest rates unchanged. While the US Federal Reserve said it has decided to keep interest rates in the range of 0.75% to 1%. While the decision was taken after a two-day policy meet that ended yesterday, central bank last raised its rates in March and December, given steady job creation and some signs of mounting price pressures, and amid the wave of optimism in the early days of President Donald Trump's term. Now, with his promises of tax cut and big infrastructure spending, for the 3 months to the end of March, US GDP grew at an annual rate of 0.7% in the first quarter, the slowest rate since the first quarter of 2014, which means since the last 2 years. Now to another major global story, electric car maker Tesla has said its losses had widened in the first quarter, but that sales and revenues had grown rapidly as company prepared for critical launch of a mass market model. Now, company said it lost $397 million in the quarter compared with a loss of $282 million in the same period a year earlier. But the automaker emphasized production had increased by about 65% from last year's first quarter to 25,000 vehicles, and that revenue had more than doubled to $2.7 billion. While the solar panel maker Tesla has merged with last year, has also shown good response. Now, automotive revenue alone was $2.3 billion for Tesla. The gains on production side are being watched closely by investors and analysts who are seeking evidence that Tesla can meet its plans to begin manufacturing the Model 3, its first mass market offering this summer. Now, staying with the global news, where Facebook had another strong quarter, beating estimates to start 2017. It scored $8.3 billion in revenue and $1.04 billion in revenue total. Actually, it was earning per share in quarter first compared to $0.87 earning per share estimate. Now, it earned that from 1.94 billion users, up from 1.86 billion users last quarter, growing at a faster 4.3% compared to 3.91% last quarter. While fake news, video violence and copying Snapchat have all been fixtures of Facebook news cycle, its user growth actually grew during the time period. Facebook added 3 million monthly users in the lucrative but saturated US and Canada market. Now, though the Asia-Pacific region was the big driver, where Facebook added 43 million users. Now, staying with social media space, where WhatsApp, the online messaging service, went offline on Wednesday evening, leaving millions of users worldwide in turmoil. While the Facebook-owned service went down at around 9 p.m., affecting users in the UK, US, Australia and Brazil, among other countries. It returned at around 11:20 p.m. It was unclear what caused the issues with the hugely popular online messaging service. A spokesman for WhatsApp said some people have had trouble accessing WhatsApp for a short period yesterday. Now, WhatsApp, which is reportedly planning a major update, did not comment on the cause of the problem, but complaints posted on social media quickly made the service the top trend in the UK on Twitter. Now, many users reported being able to open the app but not able to connect to its servers, making it impossible to send or receive messages. Now, coming to India, where a report by Global Financial Integrity documenting illicit financing flows across the world has pegged the total illicit flows in India between 2005 and 2014, which is in a decade, at $770 billion. Now, the yearly report titled Illicit Financial Flows from Developing Countries also pegs illicit money flows in 2014 at $101 billion in the report. Now, on the other hand, illicit outflows from India was pegged at $165 billion between 2005 and 2014. In 2014, the illicit money flowing outside India stood at $21 billion, a staggering amount, a fifth of the outflows during the year. The report notes that most of the illicit outflows and inflows in India happened due to misinvoicing of exports and imports, but the sheer dominance of illicit outflows over inflows seems to suggest massive under-invoicing by importers and over-voicing by exporters. The figures also indicate that India's Customs Directorate of Revenue and Intelligence and Enforcement Directorate, which is ED, their personnel have been unable to monitor and curb such practices. Now, coming to Indian scooter market, where Indian automobile major Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India has gone ahead of motorcycle specialist Bajaj Auto in India to claim the second spot in domestic sales of motorcycles. Now, Honda Motorcycle and Scooters India (HMSI) has clocked sales of 1.83 lakh units in April, which is last month, as against 1.61 lakh units sold by Bajaj Auto during the same month last year. Hero MotoCorp, the Delhi headquartered two-wheeler giant, remains the largest manufacturer of motorcycles in India. Bajaj Auto, makers of Pulsar and Avenger, witnessed a drop of 19% in sales last month from around 200,000 units sold in the same month last year. Now, HMSI, or Honda Motorcycle and Scooters India, has recorded a growth of 22% last month over 150,000 units sold in same month last year. In the previous financial year, HMSI most popular model was Activa. It became the largest selling two-wheeler brand in India as it went past Hero's decade-long bestseller Splendor motorcycle. Now, staying with Indian auto space, where Mahindra & Mahindra has stopped selling its electric car E2O in the UK due to meager sales and is winding up its operations there. In a big setback for Indian automaker Mahindra & Mahindra's global ambitions, it happened in UK. Now, Mahindra's exit from UK comes less than a year after it launched E2O car in a market it considered a launchpad for selling electric cars in Europe, especially to countries like Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands, and to other Scandinavian countries. The Indian EV market is poised for a takeoff, and given that scenario, we are primarily focusing on Indian market, said Mahindra & Mahindra. It also said it will reconsider the UK market at an opportune time in future. India's cabinet has approved a proposal to make the use of local steel mandatory for government infrastructure projects aimed at boosting the sales of local companies. The ministry's flagship national steel policy, which seeks to outline a roadmap to increase country's annual steel production to 300 million tons by 2025, was also passed by the cabinet yesterday. The policy is broadly seen as a continuation of India's protectionist stance against countries such as China and Russia. It also comes in the backdrop of a trade probe launched by US President Donald Trump against cheap imports into the United States, in a move that could aggravate trade friction among global producers. India wants to nearly triple its production capacity by next decade and acquire technology to produce higher value products, including automotive steel. But the government policy will also provide a guiding light for Indian steel companies that are seeking to expand while saddled with huge debts. Now, coming to a very interesting topic, which is quantum computing. Now, what is quantum computing? What exactly does it 24,000 times faster than anything around the world? Does it really mean? Well, this explainer from Microsoft will help us understand quantum computing better. Take a look.
Think about quantum computing like a subway map with two train lines, the Quantum Physics Local and the Computer Science Express, coming from different directions to meet at a central hub, Station Q. On the map, the two lines meet and continue forward together, though no one knows exactly where they're headed. Thanks to brilliant minds from Newton to Einstein, we have a pretty solid understanding of matter, motion, time, space, and how the universe generally functions. But over the last 100 or so years, scientists looking closely at life on an atomic and subatomic level started noticing some inconsistencies with traditional physics. Questions and theories started piling up about how and why particles seem to behave predictably on a large scale, like plants and birds and rocks and things. But on a nanoscale, it's, well, particles gone wild. It turns out that behaviors that seem impossible to imagine on a human scale are downright pedestrian at a molecular level. Down there, particles, little balls of solid matter, act like waves. Particles teleport from one place to another and can also become entangled, making it impossible to separate them. In a quantum state, particles can even achieve something we call superposition, where they exist in multiple states simultaneously. You've ridden this line many times before. You know that the laptop on your desk, the smartphone in your hand, and the tablet in your bag all work with information in the form of bits. Bits, which can be either a 1 or a 0, are arranged in long, artful strings to get computers to do all sorts of things, like sequence DNA or fling angry little birds at pig-built fortresses. But classical computers have limits to their problem-solving prowess. There are some problems so difficult that even if all the computers in the world worked on the problem in tandem, it would still take them a very long time to solve it. So here's where things really get interesting, and where quantum computing could come in handy. Quantum computers run on quantum bits, or qubits. Because of the mind-bending properties of a quantum state, like superposition, a qubit can be a 1 or a 0, or it can exist as a 1 and a 0 at the same time. If one qubit, as a 1 and a 0, can do 2 calculations, then 2 can do 4, 4 can do 16, and the computing power has the potential to grow exponentially. With long strings of qubits performing computations, problems that would take today's computers eons to solve could be tackled in the time it takes to grab a cup of coffee. This could have wildest imagination-type applications in fields such as machine learning and medicine, chemistry and cryptography, material science and engineering, and could allow humans to understand and control the very building blocks of the universe.
Now, staying with the tech space, and Google yesterday confirmed millions of its users worldwide were targeted in a massive phishing attack. Experts said phishing campaign was unusually sophisticated and sought to gain control of users' entire mail histories and spread itself to all of their contacts. The bomb arrived in users' inboxes, posing as an email from a trusted contact, and asked users to check out an attached Google Documents file. While clicking on the link, the user is taken to a real Google security page where they are asked to give permission for the fake app to manage users' email account. Google said it had disabled the malicious accounts and pushed updates to all its users. A company spokesman has been quoted as saying that phishing campaign affected fewer than just 0.1% of Gmail users, which would still be about 1 million. Now, with this, it is time for a short break on WION Wallet. After the break, we will continue with our coverage of markets. Stay tuned to WION. Welcome back to Beyond Wallet after the break. Now straight to our market segment where Indian markets are all today also going up in green. Well, Sensex is up by, as we speak, 187 points, while Nifty is up by 38 points, which is a massive, again, jump, we would say. So Indian markets are really in green today. The overall markets, the global markets are mixed. We are joined by our guest for today for more on this. Well, thanks for talking to us. First of all, we would know from your side, what is the reason why the markets are going up and down, and how do you think they will pan out today?
Hi, good morning. See, looking at the current momentum, basically fresh buying coming in despite FIs selling here and there. The domestic players are somehow pushing up the markets overall. Overall, if you see, 9350 levels has already been reached. When Nifty was hovering around 8700, we had a call here on WION that Indian markets are heading towards 9200 and 9700 levels. It is just because once the world markets moves up and their overall long-term, medium-term charts move up, Indian markets will also follow, and that is what has happened actually. We are looking at the 9450 as a intermediate target before the market starts to consolidate. So overall, the idea is buying or dip, and if you see the reasons, behind these up move, then one of the main reason has been liquidity. But liquidity is again a debatable topic, because whenever the markets move up beyond their normal valuation, then fresh money will definitely come in. And we as an Indian economy, self-sustain more or less because of the domestic reasons driven economy. We believe that we are on the verge of again another kind of bull run which has happened over 2004 to 2008, and then because Indian economy is just somehow expanding and trying to recover from last 2 years, then this is a kind of making a base around which Nifty will hover. 8,000, 9,000 in long term would be definitely support to look forward for bulls. But for the traders who are trading for say 6 months, then 9,700 should be your target. And once market keeps moving up, you keep revising your stop losses and targets.
And Fed has kept the rates unchanged so far, but has given that there is signal that the hikes could go up moving forward. What do you make out of this particular news that has come last night?
See, Fed earlier had given many times a signal to raise the interest rate, and it wasn't doing so actually. In the process, basically, it lost its some of the credibility, in a sense, its view or accuracy on the economy going forward. So it has definitely impacted even the central bankers worldwide. So nowadays domestic central bankers are basically taking domestic factors more into the picture before deciding on interest rate, rather than looking at the Federal Reserve, which was happening over 20-30 years time frame. So we believe that this will not have much impact on Indian markets as a whole. Definitely this is not a buying trigger for emerging economy, but definitely a kind of relief where the valuations are quite high. But as far as Indian market is concerned, we believe the value is still being spread in some of the sectors. But banking space as well as housing finance space, they are the leading sector, basically leading this rally of the basically current bull run which has just started. So we believe unless and until buying continues to be in this banking and housing financing space, the up run or the bull run will continue to exist.
Okay, the Indian government in cabinet yesterday has taken two important, we can say, the decisions. First of all, they have tried to solve the NPA miss to a certain extent. First, how would that impact the banking stocks today? And second, that clause where now in Indian government projects, the steel or the domestic steel will be used. So how do you see these two big news impacting the banking stocks and steel stock today?
Steel space has already, kind of basically recovered from August 2016, and it's moving up and up. from last 1-2 months, basically, consolidation has been seen in steel space, steel industry, steel stocks. While looking at the news which happened last day, we believe that the focus of the government on NP has been very much there in last 1.5 years, and now the idea is basically, if you look at the banking space, the increase in NPS is a kind of low possibility from current levels. So what we can see is, from current levels, basically a kind of upside in terms of basically reduced NPS over a period of time, say 6 to 12 months. And then banking space, especially PSU Bank, will try to basically match the private banks. Otherwise, basically they try to improve their standards. So that will be one of the positive factor. That is what has been driving PSU banking stocks up in recent past. As far as private banking are concerned, we still believe Kotak Bank, which has a disclosure, is our yearly pick in Diwali. Basically, Kotak Bank will continue to attract fresh buying interest, and the upside potentially Kotak Bank and HDFC Bank are quite good, given their risk associated. So Kotak Bank and IDFC Bank are the stocks to look forward, rather than say Axis Bank.
So fine, thank you so much for talking to us today. Here we were talking to our market expert. As we speak now, Indian markets are still trading in green, and they have really registered very good jump today. With this, it is time to wrap our WION Wallet. For more news and updates, stay tuned to WION, and thanks for watching us.